Gennady Golovkin, former trainer, says Canelo is not improving, and he broke down Canelo versus Triple G3. That's what I'm going to talk about right here in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I am back with some more boxing. Link in the description. So there's a new interview that I was checking out with Abel Sanchez, former trainer of Gennady, had no guys, Max Golovkin. He was questioned about the fight that happened over the weekend with Canelo you unpaid Alvarez and Gennady Golovkin. And I want to break that down. You guys can click the link in the description and watch the video so you can hear verbatim. I'm just going to paraphrase what I gathered from that specific interview. And I'll say this. Abel Sanchez, in my opinion, has said a lot of radical things in the past in certain interviews. Namely, I remember being at Andre Ward's fight, and I'm trying to think. It was Andre Ward when he fought Sullivan Barrera, and he was saying some, in my opinion, radical things. And I've heard him say stuff like, he said black fighters fight in a style that's unpopular or it's not really pleasing to the eye. This is during the Canelo Triple G Part 2 buildup. He said black fighters fight in a style that's unpleasing, like basically boring or whatnot, so it's hard to market. You know, just he said a lot of stuff that I disagree with over the years. We'll put it that way. This interview, I think he said a lot of things, you know, now that he doesn't have that direct tie with Triple G. He doesn't, you know, he's no longer the trainer of Triple G. He doesn't have any direct connection with Canelo Alvarez. He's not part of that team. So it was he had some solid things that he was saying. So I give him credit for this particular interview. He seemed like he was honest. And I think I don't want to go on a whole rant about this, but I will say this. The thing that is crazy in boxing is certain people, they opt to be interviewed or do these interviews, and they have certain inherent biases or things they want to say or can't say or whatnot. So you can tell that the predictions aren't really good or on point because you're trying to almost cover for somebody. You know, it's like your boy cheating on his girl and you're trying to cover for him, and he's really on a date with another girl, and his girl is calling you like, have you seen Tony? Have you seen Tony? And you're like, oh yeah, you know, he went to the bathroom. You know, and I feel like a lot of people kind of do that when it comes to boxing talk, and it's just disingenuous commentary. But again, I don't want to get too sidetracked on that. I think Abel Sanchez not having a connection to Triple G, not having a connection to Canelo Alvarez, he was honest, you know, which you can't always get. Like he seemed to be a bit more radical when he was training Triple G because Triple G was his fighter. So things were more embellished and over the top, which is what I'm getting at. But let's talk about what he said. I'm just going to paraphrase. He talked about the fight, and he says that Triple G, he was disappointed. He was disappointed. And I think that's a great word. And many people are using that specific word to really encompass what we've seen with Canelo Triple G3. If I was DAZN, I would be sick to my stomach paying $65 million for Canelo and Triple G3 4 years after the second fight. And, you know, the first two fights were to happen because they happened pretty much back-to-back years, despite Canelo failing a drug test, and the fight got canceled for May, but it later happened in September of that year. So it had been pretty much a year in between. But I would truly be sick to my stomach if I was DAZN because they paid $65 million for a glorified sparring session. And I said that. And ironically enough, Abel Sanchez basically said the same thing. He said Triple G, he wasn't throwing the 1-2-3. He said he wasn't throwing the 1-2. There was like, it was seldom that he was throwing a combination. And he was like, I couldn't understand that because that's what we used to work on in the gym. And he has experience with Triple G. And he's like, one of those three punches will land. Even if you're older and a little bit slower, you know, you're going to be able to land something. But he said Triple G, for whatever reason, he was trying to live and die by the jab only until some of the later rounds. But by that point, Canelo, you know, was well in the lead and was content coasting despite Canelo getting tired. So yeah, he had some success late in the fight, but it was just such a slow start for Golovkin. and he was just jabbing with no power shots behind it. He said it was a weird strategy, and he couldn't really understand that, which I agree. You know, I mean, anyone, even the DAZN commentary, they're analyzing the fight in real time, and the scorecards, they had an unofficial scorecard. They had Canelo up like 6-0, something to this effect, where Triple G won no rounds. And it was, for that reason, it was a one-sided first half of the fight, and it was really boring because, you know, Canelo was just trying to do his thing, and Triple G looked like almost like he never fought before. And I agree with Abel Sanchez. I think it was disappointing. And I think Canelo he said, he was asked the question about, was Triple G older? Did that play a factor in it? And he said yes and no, but I'm telling you it did. And Canelo knows it did. That's why Canelo waited all this time, and Triple G started looking older in more of his recent fights. And to Abel Sanchez's credit, I will say that Triple G looked better under the tutelage of Abel Sanchez. I think more of his inherent style is to be what he showed with Abel Sanchez, which is aggressive, try to get you out of there, and if he can't, then he'll resort to the fundamentals of just jabbing. Now he's trying to redefine and reinvent himself with Jonathan Banks and be more a cerebral fighter. And sometimes that doesn't work with guys. Like even like Amir Khan, like people question Amir Khan's chin, things like that. And he got with Virgil Hunter, and Virgil Hunter's working with him and trying to make him more of a cerebral fighter. But I think Amir Khan at his best is a speedster, throwing punches and bunches. But those punches and bunches is what got him knocked out with Freddie Roach and, you know, in Danny Garcia fights and stuff like that. But I think that's inherently who he was as a fighter. So when you try to slow down the speed and get him to only throw 2 punches, then Amir Khan automatically is not as effective, because that's what he wants to do. He wants to throw 5-6 punches, and his best wins like Zab Judah, that's what he's doing. He's throwing punches and bunches, you know. And the same thing with Jonathan Banks and Triple G. I think they try to make Triple G something he's really not, and make him more of a balanced fighter, or, you know, maybe like Floyd went from Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather, where he became more of a thinking fighter, pot shot, pick his shots. But not everybody's Floyd, and that's just the reality of it. But as far as Canelo, Abel said something that was very interesting. He said Canelo is not improving, which sounds identical to something that I've told all of you on my channel. Canelo doesn't seem to be really improving. If anything, it looks like a regression, which I'll get to more in a second. But Abel Sanchez said that. And if you pay attention to the interview, the host almost seems shocked and asked a follow-up question to Abel Sanchez, like, oh, you really, he sounded concerned, like, oh, you really think Canelo hasn't improved, you know, since da-da-da-da fight? And Abel Sanchez stayed 10 toes down and says, no, I don't think. He said, I didn't really watch the Bivol fight like that, but I heard about it, and they said Canelo got tired in the Bivol fight, and then back-to-back fights with Triple G. He got tired in the second half of that fight, which Abel did watch. And that's true. I watched the Bivol fight, and I watched the Triple G3 fight, and Canelo is getting tired. This is also what I said on my live stream. Canelo, something is up where his conditioning is probably, from any elite fighter, his conditioning is the most suspect. Where it's like 1 minute it looks great and he's throwing 1,000,000 punches at Caleb Smith, and then other times it's inconsistent. Canelo Alvarez, out of all elite fighters, I'm talking Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, Shakur Stevenson, David Benavidez, Jerron Boots Ennis, anybody who's good, Keith Thurman, Canelo has the most suspect, inconsistent cardio and conditioning out of all boxing. And it sounded like the host was making some excuses for Canelo, saying, oh, he said his hand was hurt and things like that. Well, Triple G's 40, so that kind of nullifies that. And the thing is, Canelo is claiming, after an abysmal overall performance, all things considered, how old Triple G looked, how slow Triple G looked. You know, it wasn't a great performance with those things considered. And Canelo's now complaining, saying something was wrong with his hand since the Caleb Plant fight, and now he might take time off and get that operated on. But my question is this: if Canelo Alvarez knew he had hand injuries, he fought Caleb Plant in like November of last year, November, December. why would you go into the Bivol fight? Because from November to May is when you fought Bivol. Why wouldn't you get the surgery January, February, March, April, May, blah, 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 up until that May fight? Why didn't you get the surgery? And then, especially if you're moving up to fight a guy like Bivol, who is a champion at the higher weight, then you lose to Bivol, and then you still don't get the surgery. And then after basically a loss and a performance that's perceived as not, sensational, now he's complaining about his hand again and saying, hey, I got to get this taken care of. But to me, if you had it in the Caleb Plant fight, you've basically, as a multimillionaire, because we know he's made hefty checks, Trey Lance with the 49ers, with my 49er Niner gang, right? He got injured and had a broken ankle. He had surgery the next day. So when you're a multimillionaire and you're a high performance athlete, these things tend to be manageable. Like, you can get surgeries quicker and, cover the cost and things like that. It's not like you have to write to Make-A-Wish or whatever. Canelo makes millions of dollars, so he could get the surgery. So why would you forego a Triple G fight and Bivol fight if it was truly your hand? So to me, that's an excuse. And Abel Sanchez he sounded like he was in the same vein of believing that these things were excuses. And it's just, I told you, I think the Canelo era is coming to an end, because Canelo, he's saying he doesn't want to fight Mexicans, refusing to fight big fights. His numbers are dwindling. His interest is dwindling, and he's not putting on the biggest events. And then now you have people like Abel Sanchez saying that Canelo Alvarez isn't improving, which I agree with. He's not improving. I mean, how are you improving with inconsistent cardio? You're losing to Bivol, and then you're getting tired in that fight in the back half, and you're tired in this fight in the back half. What is up with Canelo Alvarez and his inconsistent cardio? Let me know that in the comment section. Do you think Canelo is improving? Is he regressing? Has he peaked? To me, I think it's a multitude of things. Canelo, he's in the Creed 3 movie. See, and that's why I'm not going to buy no hand injuries when you're filming Creed 3 movies and you're golfing and doing these golf tournaments like you're Jack Nicklaus or Arnold Palmer or whoever, Happy Gilmore, and you're golfing all the time, but then you're saying your hand hurts. So how do you take a piece of iron and play all the 18 holes or whatever and golf if your hand is messed up? How are you golfing? Why wouldn't you just get the surgery? Why, you're filming movies, but then you're not taking care of your main career. So it's like, I don't know. I think we may have seen the best of Canelo Alvarez. And at this point, he has 50 plus fights or whatever it is. And, the performances the walls are closing in, and the performances aren't matching to the face of boxing and the #1 pound for pound. That's just what it is. Drop your thoughts in the comment section, link in the description. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxing Ego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $sign in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new, interactive, and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We work.